I just hit record.
Thank you.
It says recording.
Okay. I wanted to start off by talking about this word confidential because if you get a stamp like this and you sign your documents like that when you're doing private documents, you're automatically saying this is private, it's confidential. So you're putting whoever gets the documents on notice that this is private. And you can order these. I got this at Office Depot. I ordered it on the internet. But really would want to have it in red ink like this. They sell a black ink one too, I think. So it already has ink on it. You just press it onto the paper like that. Yeah, I was gonna show y'all like I have a whole drawer full of all these little knickknacks. This is how you do the brass rivets. It's called We Are Memory Keepers, and I got this from a Hobby Lobby or a Michaels. But you're gonna want to call ahead and make sure that they have it, and you can see them online. And I'll show y'all how to use that. But I wanted to kind of go over some of the supplies that I have. This is a copy stamp, also in red ink. I got that. Joseph, there's some feedback. Do y'all hear feedback?
A little bit, yep.
Sorry. This I got at the website stamp-ever, and you can just order that online. I think that the only one that I saw on the Office Depot websites had black ink. They were out of the red ink ones, but I like the red ink. So these are just a couple of things that I have on hand, used as needed. And I've also got these stamps. I can't wait to show y'all this thing. Does anyone else have one of these? I don't know. It's called like an embosser or something like that. I'm just curious if anybody.
Yeah, I got one.
All
I
right.
got one.
Well, I love this thing. I'm not sure where everyone's at on the use of stamps and the different types of stamps. So I was going to kind of cover some of that. These are real stamps. They have a value to them, a monetary value. They're not like those forever stamps. And I personally already had this on hand, and it's just like one of those little stamps that will do like the days of the week and the date. I like being able to timestamp things in a lot of documents because sometimes it's easier to read that than when you just write it in print underneath. It looks more professional, it's neat, and there can be no discrepancy on like what it says. Okay, so I'll just show a couple of these other stamps that I've ordered. I got these from rubberstamps.net. You can custom write out whatever you would like it to say. Let me get it to zoom in. This one's Without Prejudice. It's not wanting to zoom in. I'll just stamp with it. And I think I got this one at the same place. No, this is the stampmaker.com. This is another one that I have. And like I said, you know, like I just told them what I wanted it to say, what color ink. And you have it right here. The top one says, Without Prejudice. Oh, it's not good. It says Without Prejudice, UCC 1-308, and in quotations it says all rights reserved. And then the other one says UCC 3-415 in parentheses B, under necessity and without recourse. And I'm assuming like people in this group, oh, I need to add more people. I'm assuming everyone here kind of already knows what those mean. And I have used those written on documents before. Oh, and this is like an extra long piece of paper. I don't know if anyone's familiar with using these or seeing them or difference. This is what they call like legal paper, but what I like about this is it's actually kind of old school. This is like what you would call a scroll, so it's literally like a scroll. This has like a lot more impact, I think, when we write things on this.
There's certain things we're supposed to use that for,
Right.
primarily
Nope.
for motions and things that we may have to, use in the court.
I was, and you can probably elaborate on this more than I can, but my comprehension was like this is like really important for contracts as well. Like something on a contract written on this is like it has more standing.
Yep, it's
Oh,
true.
okay. And sorry it took me so long to add y'all, but I went over the word confidential right here. Like I have a confidential stamp, and when you put that, like a good use for that is on the envelope. Like if you're sending one on the private side
Yes.
to someone, you would want to stamp it with that. So they already get notice before they open it that this is something private.
Yes. I like that. Right,
And
man.
I'll show y'all. This is one of my favorite ink brands to use, Colorbox,
Yes.
because it is actually archival and it's like waterproof. This won't, if it gets wet, something spills on it, it's gonna stay. And
Catherine, did you get that offline?
this
Color
I got
box?
this I got at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. They'll have these in like they have a lot of different stamp colors. This is in like a royal purple color, but they should have, some people like to use blue.
Yep.
I've heard that blue is more like for business. That's the commercial side.
Yep. Public.
Purple of course is like sovereign, it's royalty. And then people have different ideas on red. Some people say that red meaning blood, it's dead, but I've also would kind of argue that it means living, because when your blood is a red color, it's still oxygen, or it's got oxygen in it, you know. But well, I don't know. Some people would argue that happens when the blood exits your body, like if you were dead and it's now no longer living. There's all these different kind of like theories and interpretations. But for me, and this is where kind of you kind of go with like your own belief and what you can kind of like stand by. And for me, every word that the Messiah spoke is written in red letters in the scripture, and I kind of had my own little personal revelation on that. So like if it's good for him and I'm kind of like, you know, in alignment with him, then I use it also. I like to use red ink, but I never use the black. I think we all know like not to do that anymore. Um, but this thing's kind of neat because it has like a little flip, and like when you hit a different one, it'll like change. I guess I could take out that little pad right there and put a different color if I wanted to. And I got this one at Stamp Dash Ever, and it came with 2 ink refills because I've used this red one so many times that I actually needed to add more ink to it. All right. Oh, I wanted to show you all this document. Okay. This one's really special and meaningful to me. This is the first thing I ever had witnesses and did like private, and I had this recorded on the land. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with what that means to record something on the land, but you file it under miscellaneous. And this was my declaration of status. So I kind of wanted to read this, but it's kind of lengthy.
You should red act it and put it in the thread and let us check it out too
I
after you
will,
read some to us.
because even though this is considered private, I absolutely stand by every word that this says, and that's why I'm like actually really proud of this. I think this is one of my favorite documents I've ever done. I'll just read the top part right here.
Okay.
I, Catherine Marie Roach, woman and daughter of Yahuwah, and it's written YHWH, which is sometimes how it's written, and then it's also written in the modern Hebrew form. It says, "Who governs me?" And what I like about this is like straight off the bat, I'm saying
Establishing government.
exactly. I'm saying who governs me. It's Yahuwah. It's not any other jurisdiction. I'm living and breathing and standing upon the land, on the earth, and not a creature, or subject to or of the holy sea, and that's spelled SEE, and such slash law of the sea. Do hereby attest and affirm that I seek the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, in all matters seen and unseen, known and unknown, real or imagined, tangible and intangible. And the whole thing goes on, and it's like really amazing. It says that I want to help anyone that's ever been. I got it. I just now saw it. Thank you. There's other people joining in. Basically, that I will help anyone that's trying to find remedy. In a nutshell, I've sworn this, and at the very end it says, I do not waver or retreat in fear or trepidation from these responsibilities. I carry the vessel of light and truth wherever I will, knowing that where truth prevails, darkness fails. I do no harm where none is earned. My oath is my bond. My word is my honor. My honor is steadfast and resolute. But I wanted to go over like the styling of this. And there's a couple things that I would do different knowing what I know now. For instance, if you see these witnesses on the sides, now what I would do differently is not a thumbprint in the same color and right over the signature. A thumbprint should be at the very end of a signature, or I should call it an autograph actually. A signature is for a slave, but an autograph is for an autonomous being. And this is your seal right here, your creator given
Yep.
seal that establishes you as a man or a woman and also a creator. And
Proof that you're alive.
yeah, and your seal, I believe, should go at the very end, but it should always be touching slightly to your autograph. And the reason being because all of these documents get recorded and they're always scanned in black and white. And if it's the same color like this, it could be hard to like see through. And I wanted to cover these stamps right here in case no one's familiar with this. What you do is this actually gives this document value. And what I wanted to say is that the word, okay, a lot of people know that the word government means govern is control and ment is Latin for mind. So what does document mean? It's a docked mind. When you take your thoughts, you're docking them on this vessel. This is a piece of paper, but it becomes a document on this vessel. And you want to give it value because what is a fact? A fact is something that has something measurable about it. You can measure the length and the width of the paper. You can measure the weight of it. That's why they want to know at your birth your length and your all your measurements and stuff, because you become a fact. You become valuable by having all of those attributes. So we want to give our documents value, and these stamps are the only ones that actually have a value. So we've got, these are 5 cents. Right here it says 5 cents on it. These are little grapes. And you've got these ones right here. They say $1 on them. But they kind of, I wish y'all could see this better because it's almost a joke. The quote unquote money sign. I don't know about y'all, but when I was in school, hold on, there's one more person joining. When we were taught how to draw a money sign in math class, I was taught it is an S with 2 lines going through it. Anyone else?
Yep.
That's the way I was taught. Well, how many of us have also seen it like this, where it just has 1?
Yes.
That's a peso.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's significance to that too, but yes.
Break it down for us.
Then there's the one right here on this $1. It's written like this, and that line is not even going all the way through the dollar sign. So I would say this one's not so much my favorite one, but I've still used it before. Now here we go. This one's really significant right here. When I saw this one, I laughed because what does it even look like? It looks like money. They have the same style of drawing this portrait as they would on a dollar bill, and it's even green, and it's got like the dollar on it is like shiny. But they're also kind of tricking people with this kind of stuff because they've removed the dollar sign completely. It's written out though, and so I personally kind of feel like that holds some weight, because there's a big difference between writing a number this style and writing it out. This has more standing, this holds more weight. So when they write out the word dollar, in some ways I think that still is valuable. So I would recommend using these or a higher number amount actually. But
Those
anyway,
are the $1 that you have there, Catherine?
yeah, these are $1. And they're actually shiny. Like they have some kind of glittery stuff on them, and they're like embossed. They kind of have like a little bit of a texture on them. And so I use those on here. Now, what happens when you write over a stamp is you're actually canceling it as the Postmaster General, because by canceling a stamp, you add value to it. No one can peel that stamp off and reuse it. So you've, solidified like this has value and it's not going anywhere. Nobody else can use it. And what I would do differently going forward is you can actually do a thumbprint in ink on top of the stamp. And that's actually one of the highest like levels that you can do of proclaiming status, because we've all learned what separates man from the animal kingdom is we have these thumbs. We have these appendable digits, and we can use them to create things. We can make tools, and from making the tools, we can manipulate the creator's resources. We can turn iron into steel and make it into a sword, all these kinds of things. So the thumb print on top of a stamp is you're proclaiming, I'm man, I created stamp. I'm higher than this little man-made value that men agreed upon, like giving it, some sort of form of value or whatever. So when you put your thumbprint on it, you're proclaiming to be the creator, and like directly below the creator, like, hey, the creator gave me rights to be a creator, and I used my creativity to create money. Money wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for man creating it. So we're actually unlimited because we create it. We create the government, we create all of these things. So that's kind of a common law understanding of what it means to be a man or a woman. But going differently, I would have actually put my thumbprint over the stamps, and I do that now. And the important thing is, when you're doing this process, you want to actually diagonally make a line all the way across and put by dot dot little colon right there, and then sign your name all the way across. Whenever something is by you, you're the creator of it as well, so that just reaffirms that. And okay, moving on, this is my favorite thing right here, and I'm going to tell you all about this. I got this at the stampmaker.com, and this is actually my private seal that I've used. It's got a lock on it. So you can custom make these, and what you're going to do is slide the paper right here. And you want to punch down on it like this. And from experience, don't go too far, it'll rip the paper. But it actually leaves a really cool little raised image like this on your paperwork. And what mine says is on the top, it says House of Roach. That's my family last name. Catherine-Marie, semicolon. Then it says private and true heiress. And in the very center, I had it custom made with our family coat of arms. And one thing I've noticed is I used my seal right here. What I would do differently now is leave a space for it on my document where it's not going to cover up anything else. Because what they should do in the recording office is they should actually go over it with like a type of powder so that it shows up on the print. But a lot of times they don't do that. So what I've started doing is just like what you saw there, I'll go over a little bit of ink on my finger and just lightly kind of gloss over it. And that's just to ensure that when these things are recorded and they're scanned even in black and white, it's still going to show up really nicely. I wish I had one right now, but I don't know where they are. But when I got this, we also paid extra for these little gold jagged edged circles. And it's just a sticker. And you're going to want to put that ahead on the piece of paper where you're going to do your emboss. And then right where you put the sticker, you'll just go over it like that. And it leaves a really nice looking seal and with gold foil on it. So the last thing I think, oh, there's two more things is, I don't know if anybody noticed my ring right here on my pinky, but back in the day, if you were like sovereign or a lord or a lady or baron, baroness or any such thing, if you were a noble and you had titles anyway, you always had a signet ring that had to do with your family. It could be any kind of impression that this is going to leave in a wax seal that cannot be copied by anyone else. And my husband actually got this for me. Sunflowers are really significant to us, and it's like a sunflower ring, and it's not, you know, an expensive ring because we knew we were going to be dipping it in the wax. Eventually, though, I do want to get a custom wax seal. There's website, one I've been looking at is royalwaxseals.com, and they have like a way you can customize it. You can get your family crest on it or just your initials or whatever you want. And I don't know that this is going to work, but I was kind of excited to give it a shot. I'm going to use one of these little wax melts that has scent on it. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. And of course, like, you really want to do this with like a common law, a court. And I wish I would have done this with the one that I tried. So when you first make your claim and you're presenting it before the court, you actually want to seal your claim, and you tell the clerk not to break, you know, nobody can break the seal until 21 days when the other party has been given a chance to answer and respond. And then it's open, the seal's broken only before a jury, a trial by jury. So then supposedly what you do when you got your like wax there is you're going to let it cool off a little bit of the way. And again, I've never done this before, but I just watched it on the computer and I really wanted to give it a shot. So when it's like probably, I guess, like halfway done, you're just gonna press your stamp in and you're gonna let it like solidify the entire way, and then you take it off. I have no idea if this is really gonna work or not. Does anyone else have one of these, or have you ever done one before?
I haven't. But what comes to mind is when courts do stuff on the public, or if it's for the private, they seal it so anyone on the public side cannot view those documents on any level of government.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, we're beating them to the chase and we're doing it ourselves. We're sealing it ourselves. Well, yeah, that didn't really work that great, but like I said, I'm gonna get an actual seal kit from online, and so that can't be tampered with. And that's one way that you can seal a document, especially if you want it to go before a jury. There's a difference between a jury trial and a trial by jury, and a trial by jury is a right that's secured by the Seventh I don't call it amendment necessarily, the seventh article, but it's like the highest court, the law of the land. If you get a real trial by jury according to the Seventh Amendment, then whatever they say can never be retried. It can never go to appeals or like anything like that. So, all right. The last thing that I wanted to share with everyone I can think of is this right here. Now, this is actually like a really affordable way to get brass rivets for your own documents, but there's probably a more costlier, more official way to do this. But this was like, man, I don't even remember, like maybe 30 something dollars for this thing. And it comes with these little rivets like this. You can get them in different colors, but I chose this color. And I'll just show y'all what it does. So we've got these little hole punches on this side right here. It looks all crazy, but it's really not that complicated. So you line your document up in the corner, and you're just gonna hole punch it like that. Yeah. And you've got your rivet, and it goes through right here. And it's gonna poke out the side like that. Line that up. You press down really firm. And I didn't do that very good, but what it's supposed to do is it kind of mashes the end and it pushes it against the paper, kind of like a staple. And so once you do this with your documents, it's unbreakable. If somebody tears these apart, they're tampering with your property, and you can get compensation for that. Yeah, they're trespassing on your property. This is your docked mine on your vessel. So it's just like a really official way to staple your papers together, I guess. I actually, when I sent my letter to Pope Francis, this is the way that I put all the paperwork together. I used a rivet like that. Does anyone have any questions?
Most of those utensils, did you get those online? I know you said Hobby Lobby for one of those for the ink pad, but the other ones, did you get those online?
I did actually. Okay. A gifts from Zoom. Running out of time, we've removed the 40-minute time limit on the group meeting. Awesome. Yes, Rivet is the maritime law. That's true. That's where I got that information from. So I got this at Michael's, and I looked online and found the one that I wanted, and I called the store just to like double check and make sure that they had the exact right one. And then I went there face to face. I don't like to say in person anymore. I went there face to face, and it came with these little, like a little bunch of these rivets. Or maybe I bought them also. I think I bought them also. But a lot of these stamps, like these ones, I got online. This one I got from your regular arts and crafts store, should have this, and there's all these different colors. And then these ones, anything custom like this, I order online. These stamps with the UCC codes. I guess in theory, I should carry these with me at all times. Who knows what you'll need them for. This one I ordered online.
Where did you order the embosser from? Because Staples has been the worst for me.
This is the Stampmaker.com. That's where I got this from.
Okay.
And I paid $60 for this. And there's actually a website. It might even be this exact one. It's cheaper now.
Yeah, Staples charged, I think it was 35 for each of them. But I didn't get the desk one, I just got the handheld.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the only thing that I don't really like about this is there's not much room right here. Like sometimes the place I would prefer to put my seal, I can't really reach it without, like kind of folding and crushing the
Yep.
paper a little bit, and I don't like to do that. So,
Yeah, that's why I had them do one for the bottom of the page and then one for the top of the page.
oh, that's a good idea. So you have one that's like kind of reversed, the
So
seal.
I have one that's because I did them for my tribal trust charter. So I have one that has my official seal for the bottom of the page, and then the my great seal one is the one that I put at the top of the page.
Oh, that's awesome.
But does it have a deeper pocket on the portion where you're, you know, what she's saying?
For the handheld, it's a little deeper, but it does depend on the like how you have them position it, whether you want it on the top or the bottom of the page, because that'll determine like how it'll look once it's embossed onto the paper.
You got to have your coat of arms to get that.
You
No,
don't necessarily. That was my desire. I I liked the way that that looked, and I actually custom made it. I took, like, I literally just did a Google search for an image of the family coat of arms. I found the right one, and I took it to, like, I think I used MS Paint for like everything. Honestly, it's not even that complicated, and I just made it like black and white, really simple, and I just erased like everything except just the little three fishes on the inside and the little, shield looking thing. And I just made it really simple, just simplified so that it could be a nice little stamp thing.
yeah,
And
that's a
I'm
good
probably
idea.
going to use that same uh, pattern on my um, seal, um, the like wax seal.
Hmm.
I'm going to use the same one. I find all this stuff fascinating, but um,
Very.
I was really excited to share all this because I feel like there's not really that many applications that I get to use this, but it's actually surprised me how often I have used them. That being said, it's not like something you use every single day, but I'm glad that I have them. There's something to be said too for showing intention. All of these things take a while to kind of gather. So when you have all of them, it's like, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I know what I'm doing. It kind of establishes that you had this intention a long time ago, to the point where you custom ordered it, you waited the 6 weeks or whatever that it took to get it shipped, and then you stapled or stamped your paper with it. So I prefer it, and I really like doing stuff like this. Um, does anyone have anything else to add that, like, maybe I didn't um, touch on?
I think that was phenomenal. That's the whole reason I wanted everybody to become involved, because everybody has a different powerful contribution that they can make. And I'm so glad. People have a tendency to think that because I'm the quarterback, I know everything. And I want to remind y'all, it's a whole lot that I don't know. A great chunk of what she shared, I don't have extensive knowledge on. I'm very grateful. I want to continue to learn too. And so I know that in this group, there are a lot of things that other people know that some of us don't. And I'm trying to, give everybody an opportunity to share. So for those of you that are here, that are observing how she shared, there is no college education requirement to be able to do what she just did. All she did is shared her journey. And that's what we're looking for. People that are not afraid to get on here and share their journey and help be a guide. That's it. You did an amazing job, and I'm extremely happy that you're a part of what we're doing. I'm just looking forward to the next one.
Oh, and I
Maybe
forgot,
for us next week.
I do have a little bit more on autographs. Okay, something just came to mind. So there's a couple things that are really interesting. For instance, I found out that the Queen of England, she actually signs documents on the top. Does
Wow.
anybody have any idea why?
Wow.
Because
Ahead
not
and not beneath.
because she's not going to be liable for any of this.
Right.
When she signs at the top, it's like anything below her signature, she's not liable. She's not under it. She doesn't have to uphold it. Not sneaky.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
Crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Wow.
makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Maybe we should follow suit. We've been programmed to sign everything at the
On
bottom.
the bottom, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one too. Supposedly, when a judge turns documents in, he's actually going to put, and this is maritime law also, he's going to put a stamp in the corner and sign over that. So when you beat him to the chase and you do that, it kind of freaks them out. They're like, hold up, you're not supposed to know that, you know?
Right.
So I really like that when I found out about that. That's really cool. And like I said, in my other teaching, one thing that I did that I think kind of freaked out the judge is I completely slashed the entire back of the document like this on the back side. I took my pen and I just went all the way across like that, corner to corner, no gap. And I wrote on it, and I love using my own handwriting. I don't type stuff like this because that freaks them out even more. Because a robot can't do this. You can't have a computer like print this out. So when you're actually using your creative ability with your pen, it's really powerful stuff. So I wrote on it, further affiant saith not. And here's the reason why. And then you sign it or autograph it. And I would even put my thumbprint right there, like that. And the reason why you do that is because a lot of times, whatever documents you file in, even an affidavit, the judge can go and write notes on the back. How many of y'all knew that?
Yep.
I did. Yep.
Good, good. Because when I found that out, I was like, how many people are getting screwed over because they don't know that? The
Yep.
judge can write notes on the back, and you've already signed for it. So
It's good to put that stamp on the back too for court documents, on the front and the back,
in the
and
corner,
cancel the stamp.
in the
Yep, in the corner at the
judge,
bottom though.
okay, at the bottom.
Yep,
Man,
correct.
this is awesome. So like cause you know what gets me so excited? I have nobody else I can talk to about all this stuff. That's why I was so excited. I was like, yes, I get to tell everybody, and I never get to. Like I've laughed with my husband so many times. Like I I could be at a family get together and tell everybody, oh yeah, I wrote a letter to the Pope on blue paper and I signed it in my blood thumbprint, and they'd be like,
Looking at you like, what?
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
yeah. And so we laugh about it all the time. We're like, this is a knee slapper. This is hilarious. We actually wrote a letter to the Pope for real. And like,
Supposed to.
it's amazing. This has been like such a hilarious journey. I hope everybody else finds this stuff fun. And it's like, it's a game. It's awesome. And you know, like scripture says, be the head and not the tail. Just have fun with it. And I think that's about everything that I have to share today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so
sharing.
very much.
Oh, which stamp did you put in the top and bottom corner?
The 1 cent. You can do the $1 stamp or the 3-cent stamps.
Okay, so an actual postage stamp that you're putting on the corner of the document.
Correct.
Yeah, not the forever stamps.
So are you doing it on every page of the on the back, or is it just the first and the last page?
You know, I actually, let me see if I can find this. Recently, with one of my cases, I filed an affidavit, and I'm gonna try and find it real quick, on the top and the bottom. Okay, let me show you all this. This is incredibly private right here. So I'm gonna kind of like cover it or whatever. This is an affidavit that I actually turned into the court not long ago. As you can see, it's got double perimeter lines on it, and I used the bracket, and I signed and stamped the top and the bottom of the corners, and I put my thumbprint over it. And each page also, I put, I don't know if you can see that. I put that embossed seal on every single page. And I feel like I've kind of been waiting to go over this with Michael, because I didn't feel it would be right to like have him look over this document and kind of give me his 10 cents on it unless I actually hired him, for his time and just wanted to compensate him
You got
correctly
there.
for his time. But this was my attempt at holding a common law court, and it was like completely rejected. And I, in some ways, have a suspicion of what I did wrong, and then in other ways, I'm kind of baffled. And so, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of helps to have like a group of people kind of like figuring this all out together, because I was in some ways like really defeated that this didn't follow through, and I'll tell you why. And it's written here on my affidavit. Uh, I filed a claim requiring a court of record and not a civil complaint on June 10th, 2020 at the United States District Court, Western District, Austin Division, located at Homer J. Thornberry Federal Judicial Building, 903 San Jacinto Boulevard, Suite 322, Austin, Texas, 78701. And I listed here several things that kind of, I was convinced, like gave me every right to do this. One being that a court of record acts in accordance with common law, according to Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, page 1014. I believe that Article 7 of the Bill of Rights secures the right to a trial by jury for suits at common law. And according to, because see, they were trying to say that this had no standing. They're trying to say it had no standing at all. Uh, they kept trying to say it was a complaint and not a claim. And I guess that's what convinced me so much to do Savo, is because, like I said, like when I saw that a lien is a claim by definition, that's the very first thing it says. I was like, then maybe that's the reason why this wasn't considered a claim. Anyway, I'll continue. They were trying to say that the federal rules of procedure was the reason why I couldn't follow through with this and have a common law trial by jury. And so I was kind of combating that by saying, compared to Miranda versus Arizona 384 US, blah, blah, blah. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to skip over that. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them. So I was kind of challenging them like, hey, your federal rules don't apply here. This is a common law. I wish to know how a civil procedure rule can abrogate a right secured by the Constitution. That was never answered. I sent correspondence to the woman, Annette French, court clerk, on July 15, 2020, that her wish to alter my claim and convert it into a complaint, I believe, would be a cause of an interference with my rights and confusion to all who will be reading my claim in the near future. And I included Exhibit A1 and A2 where I sent that to her. A lot of this I was following Carl Lentz. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. When I started off my claim, I followed a lot of what he did, but of course his case is completely different from mine. So I had to kind of jump in and see if I could swim, and I was like trying to go my own way. Anyway, I put in here, like, I did not give permission or consent for the wrongdoers to administrate my property. For description and definition of property, see exhibits D1 and D2. And I included in here a picture of my son. I never once put his name. I never once called him a child. I was very careful not to do that. The definition of property, I'd actually scanned, crossed out all the other definitions that didn't apply. This is from the Black's Law Dictionary 6th edition. And I had highlighted and circled the word property and like was very specific on what definition I was using. I was defining my terms. Property is that which is peculiar or proper to any person, that which belongs exclusively to one, the unrestricted and exclusive right to a thing, to possess it, to use it, and to exclude everyone else from interfering with it. The exclusive right of possessing, enjoying, and disposing of a thing, the highest right a man can have to anything, being used to refer to that right which one has to lands or tenements, goods or chattels, which no way depends on another man's courtesy. And, and so on and so forth. So anyway, I was just kind of like ticked off that I've gone this far and I was this serious. Like, I had a page with 2 witnesses on it. And if anyone knows, like biblically, when you have 2 or more witnesses, It's very powerful, like strong stuff. Here we have from, I forgot what book this is, but this is a printout. It says federal district courts are courts of record. So here we have tying, if federal district courts are courts of record and courts of records have to act according to, in accordance with common law, it should have been a common law court. That was my understanding. It's like the way that I was kind of connecting the dots. Uh, Through this unlawful act, the wrongdoers caused loss of property, including loss of enjoyment of property and damage to property. And I was giving proof of that. I gave notice of this legal but not lawful holding of my property, naked possession, on January 9th, 2020, giving ample time for rebuttal, but the wrongdoers remained silent. And I have an exhibit of that too. I sent them notice. Let's see this. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the doing a common law court. Anybody have experience with this?
The only thing I know about common law court, and not necessarily common law, but just under private judicial administration, because to me, arbitration falls under that too. Just questioning the validity of a contract, something that doesn't necessarily get done in a state level court.
And
But
really,
I've never,
like,
go ahead.
the whole point I was trying to do is just to push through that one barrier they were putting in front of me with those federal rules of procedure. I was
Right.
trying to push through that and say, hey, like, y'all are depriving me of my rights. Like, I have a right to a trial by jury, not a jury trial, a trial by jury. And I wanted, you know, whatever you wanted to put 12 people up there. I want to let them hear my side of the story and make the judgment call. I don't want it to be a judge doing all of it. And that's what happened in family court. That's what happened. And they were completely biased, completely one-sided. You know how it is.
Yep.
So this is my notice. I'm going to cover the other parties' names, you know, for sake of whatever. I put the date on the top. It has a red line border all around it. It says, I'm giving you so-and-so and so-and-so notice that you are holding my property in naked possession. And naked possession literally just means it's legal, but it's not lawful. So they had the legal right according to all these positive laws. And, you know, maybe it's family code. And I actually had the judge tell me that too, because I challenged him in the court and I said, how did I word it? I was like,
It's not
yeah,
law.
I asked him what law is currently moving this court into action. And he gave me some roundabout little, oh, blah, 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 you know, some like BS answer. And so I asked him a second time. And then he sat up straight in his chair and he gave me a little bit better of a bullshit answer, excuse me. But
Right.
and then you know, he gave this little, well, blah 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 and blah 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 family code. And as soon as I heard that family code, I said, so you're telling me that it's family code moving this court and not a law? And he kind of BS'd again. So
It's because they don't follow law in court.
Right.
exactly. So I agree. Do you pronounce your name Jesus? He said everything should be done in equity. Equity, what I really liked about equity is, like, right about the time that I got hit with that feeling like I was crushed, I didn't get my trial by jury like I'd really wanted. I found out that equity, I think it's even in the definition of it. It says that it brings justice where you can't find it in a common law court because common law is kind of strict. So equity kind of, yeah, it makes things right what ought to be. There you go, Mo. That's awesome. And that's what really kind of helped me just kind of let this go. Like, okay, it's not a total failure because I learned a lot. And if anything, it kind of backs up. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get my voice back and to right a wrong. So I'm also showing intention, you know, and
Yeah.
it's all happening for a reason.
Every piece of it.
You have to come back and you have to say, Once you give them a notice, you got to put in their notice, first of all. You have to say it all. You have to put all caps name for those person that you're actually coming in. When you come in and you say it all at the end of there, that binds everybody to the courtroom. You
Oh,
want to write it to the clerk of the court.
I know what you
You
mean
in,
when it's
you in,
written
yes, you instruct the clerk of the court.
like that.
Yes. And then you have to instruct the clerk of the court what to do. Remember, you are writing the order. That's all you're doing. It's the judge's responsibility to sign the order.
Hmm.
You got to remember that. You listen, we
I like
control
that.
everything in the court.
I like
We
that you said
control
that
everything.
because one of the things that I think was where I erred is that I was actually going after the man and the woman that were the
No,
wrongdoers.
no,
But
no, 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 no.
they're
You have to
considered
go.
the living dead. You know what I mean? Like they're not woke.
It's the office that you have to go out. Go. Remember, we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Hmm.
It's the office. It's the principalities in high places. You
Hmm.
have to attack their office. They're out of compliance.
Who is that talking? I want to know who that is. That's good stuff. Who is that?
I'm the new guy
What's
that
your
just
name, man?
joined that.
William,
Willie
Mr. Blue Hawkins, is that you?
Willie Summerly.
Oh, okay, got you.
awesome. Welcome to the club.
Yes,
Welcome.
He,
thank you.
he have
You
to
the
come
guy
back.
that was sharing all that good heavy duty stuff earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It
You have
was
to
him
come
and
back.
somebody going back and forth. I couldn't keep up.
You have to come back and you have to say in the matter of,
Mhm.
in the matter of always. Why? Because you don't want to give them subject matters jurisdiction.
That's right.
Awesome. See,
Uh,
this is so awesome. You'll have like all the loose ends that I didn't have. This is amazing.
yep. That's
Now,
usually
now,
how it happens. We find everybody when they're really at the bottom. They find us.
now watch. When this happens, watch how everything changes with your affidavit. Remember, the affidavit is the strongest thing that we could have in the commercial realm with them
That's right.
because they can't answer it. They
Nope.
can't answer that affidavit. And so remember, after 10 days, whether they answered it or not, it's a done deal. They
Yep.
So,
automatically
okay,
default.
on that note, what about like the affidavits I've already entered? Like they just
They're
are
not
like,
any good. They're not any good. You didn't even do them right. Who are you addressing? That
hmm,
at all means everything. You got to address the all caps.
That's right.
all right,
And
You
there's a
have to.
legal way they have in place to do it, and he's explaining it right now.
that is awesome. It kind of sucks that I didn't have y'all like a year ago or 3 years
That's
ago or
okay.
whatever, but it's
But
okay.
you need to think about it. None of us know this stuff. This is the stuff I'm telling you is stuff I got from old Jewish lawyers
Wow.
that are retired. One's a old what is it called? He was a probate judge.
That's what I've been kind of wanting to meet is like a retired judge and just pick his brain.
And they don't give out much information at all.
They
But
probably can't.
yeah, no, they really can. But it just so happened
You know
that
what? I was meaning to tell all y'all this one last thing too is the thing that I found like the strangest interacting with the judge over the original case when I was like just spanking new, like brand spanking new about like trying to represent myself, sui jury, and like I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was still talking in court instead of doing paperwork only. I remember I was like looking eye to eye to the judge, and I don't know what y'all want to call it, like sixth sense, psychic, whatever, telepathy. I don't know, but like I have
Discernment.
some of those gifts or whatever. I think they're inherent from like the creator or whatever. But I'm kind of in tune with that, and like I kept trying to like kind of read his like mind in a way, and like I could see it. It was like almost like he really wanted to help me, but they can't. Like they can't. You know.
yeah, it's a scam. I mean, yeah, that's part of the scam. And also, you have to come in private and confidential. They will not talk to you unless you say private and confidential. Say
That's
Well,
right.
you
private and
missed
confidential.
it. The last time I taught, I actually did discuss that I attempted to have a meeting in private chambers, but I made a couple mistakes with that too, and you know, I'm
Okay, well,
feeling
in your paperwork, you must say you must It's moral necessity. Private and confidential. If you don't say that, they will not talk to you. Private and confidential lets them off the hook.
Yep.
I wanted to add something about the commercial lien. When that pamphlet that we read that was out there, it says if they rebuttal your affidavit or your commercial lien, uh, it will go to a common law court with a 12-man jury. Uh, that's what it says in that commercial lien packet. If they don't, if it, if they don't rebuttal it, then you win by default. But
Right.
if you do rebuttal it and you accept that rebuttal, you'll end up in common law court.
That's also, you got to understand, once you put your paperwork in, you don't answer them. Shit is done. Why are you, you come and you answer them again, you pull yourself right back under their jurisdiction. Once you put that paperwork in, they're going to do what you tell them to do. They have no choice. They don't want to be found in contempt of court. They don't want to be arrested for treason.
Yep.
Right.
Having court on the four corners, and they can only do or use what's there on the four corners. They can't pull anything else in on that.
Listen, we got to understand that these people are foreigners. Remember,
Yep.
they are over here occupying our land and they literally work for us. But we get so freaked out when we go into court and we think, oh my goodness, oh, we're so afraid of these people. No, it's not like that at all. I wish I don't want to drop names because I hadn't had permission. But one of the people that's really been mentoring me, these courts around here, they are terrified of this dude. I mean, literally, when I say terrified, they're literally, and he's humble, kind. He smiles at them, uh, not confrontational. Uh, Judges literally call him and said, "Please, please, please let me off this case. Please let me off this case."
Wow.
I try to tell you, all you have to do is just do what I asked you to do. Because
Wow.
guys, listen, these people work for us.
That's
They
right.
have your kids. If they have your children, you need to pound them in the head with that.
They
I
gave
mean,
my oldest son to his grandparents because his dad's in prison and it's all botched up. And then because of that, they involved my second son's father when I was trying to keep him out of this business because it didn't have anything to do with him. But they brought him in and they were telling him all their business. And so he
listen, guys,
filed the case also for custody. So I had two cases going on at the same time. No lawyer. I didn't know any of this stuff. I got completely mowed over and I lost both my sons and they're living in split homes now, and it's really sad. They both tell me all the time they want to come home. They want to come home. I'm just doing everything I can.
these prosecuting attorneys or whoever it is, they work for you. That's why guys, you gotta contact HHS in your local area. They will do wonders for you. You let them know what's going on. And once again, you have to say in the matter of.
Can
Once
you
again,
put that in the chat, brother? HS, who is that? HSS?
HHS. Look it up. Google it.
H
H
HSS?
HHS.
Horse Sam.
Horse Sam. Yes,
Health and Human Services.
absolutely.
Okay.
Human Services.
Thank,
Guys, they
thank
deal with everything associated to the Social Security number. That is their job. I mean, it's sad that we just didn't know these little bitty things. But they tell you, think about it. Every job that you have, what do they have? They got a Health and Human Services
Right.
Human resources, yep.
Yep.
and resources. Yeah, look them up and take a look at your region. Look at that regional director. Contact them. Write them. Let them know what's going on. Make sure you got to when you put the notice, put the date down and put the comma behind it because the notice is everything. That's the only thing that they recognize. Notice, notice, notice. Got to give them a notice.
And that notice needs to be confidential.
Yeah, yeah. You want to say private and confidential. That's how they can talk to you. Remember, they don't recognize anything else.
That's why I got that confidential stamp.
Well, if you go into the court, you could just put it on your what's on your cover sheet, private and confidential.
Wow, and that's how you can like send it to the judge and he can like communicate with you that way?
Correct.
Watch you see what
Wow.
happens.
That
'Cause
freaking
we're not
simple.
even supposed to
That's
step foot in
badass.
those courts.
Remember. The clerk of the court runs the court, though.
Right.
Yes.
So all you doing is instructing her, and you tell her after the judge signs this order, I'm making arrangements with you so I can pick this document up. Remember, you control every single
Wow.
aspect of this.
I knew that the court clerk had like that much power because she assigns the executor of the consecutive trust that they set up with the case number.
Constructive trust.
Yeah, sorry, constructive trust.
Yep.
She's the clerk. She's the cleric. Anybody have anything else? I guess not. Right, with that, I
And if
guess.
there's nothing else, I got a couple of things I got to attend to tonight. I'm working on a couple of people's cases. If anybody has any questions or anything for me, go ahead and shoot me a text or an email. You did extremely, extremely well, Catherine. I'm very proud of you. I'm glad that you're a part of what we're doing here, and I look forward to watching you grow and helping others grow as well. Meanwhile, I hope this other sharp Ginsu knife we got on here decides to share with us one of these days soon. I try to get him to share, y'all. He say this is my department. He ain't ready yet, so.
I think he's more than ready.
Yeah, I tried to tell him, hey, you only been sharing for the last 2 hours in the thread, so yeah.
And we could really use his help.
I'm trying to tell him.
I told you who I am. I'm just a person coming to play defense and shoot a three every now and then.
Yeah, but that's what all of us do, and it's your turn, sir.
Okay.
Clearly, you have spent a lot of time in the gym practicing. We got a real live game here. We need you off the pine, sir.
We got to be a good Samaritan and help our fellow man.
That's right.
Right. You're so right. Just drop some nuggets to you for you. Believe me, and I plan on
We
sending
need them.
it over to you.
There's a whole lot of stuff that you know that we don't know.
Oh.
And I know more now than I did like 3 years ago, of course, but I'm still struggling with my own case. Like I said, like trying to get my boys back home. So,
Not for long. That's why I created the team because the inner circle, the directors, we will be helping one another with our personal stuff.
mhm.
So
Absolutely.
when it's time for, which will be very soon, to focus attention on your case, you're going to have all of the directors focused on your case the same way we're going to be helping Beth. And then we're going to just go around the circle. So the circle is going to be very beneficial to those of us who are really in the circle and committed to the circle because we're going to be able to get remedies
Well,
just
see,
by working among each other and working with each other, serving
I,
one another.
I absolutely love this because what we need to do is go back. If anyone lost homes or anything else, we can go back and get all that stuff now.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we try to do. And that's why I had my little spasm this morning because I'm a little frustrated. I got men that have been under my teaching for over a year. You're purely exposed to everything that I know and have, and they still want me to hold their hand. And at this point, while I don't have anything against women leading, I just think that I'm a little frustrated because we have more powerful women in this group than we do men.
It's
I
usually
want to
what
see
it
my
is.
king stand up and
Right.
link arms with me and hold down this front line to the death. And I'm irritated when I look around and I don't see no comrades. I see a bunch of women, which is okay with that, but we supposed to be protecting the women. And I'm trying to understand why I'm the only one on the front line ready for war. Where is all my comrades at? I got a bunch of women with shields and swords because I can't get my kings to step up and do battle. So
Wow.
what it's all about.
Oh, brother, that is powerful. It is nothing but the truth, too. It's
Yeah.
nothing but the truth. Everything you just said, every group I've ever been in, the women have always been the most powerful ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And you know what? I only have like the guts and the courage because I want my kids back. That's really what's been the driving force from all of this. And I want to make things that are wrong into a right. Like that, there's something inside me. I've always been like that. Even when I was young and even when I was rebellious, I didn't like lying. I didn't like, screwing people over or stealing, like all this stuff. Like it's just in my gut. I knew right from wrong. And what has happened is wrong. And when I woke up and realized this is happening to all sorts of people in different manifested ways, like whether they're getting a house foreclosed on or, whatever situation, there's so many other families that get ripped apart, the child support fraud, like all of it. And I realized like people are hurting so bad. Somebody's got to step up and say enough already.
Yep, and it's not just local. You have to realize that it's all over the world. I was watching a recording earlier where the guy was giving the same information of what we've been discussing, but I think he was in Britain or England or something. But it was
Oh, yeah.
the exact thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I've watched
Absolutely.
a lot of videos on England. I've seen people that are in Canada and Australia. All of those are still common law lands too. Their public servants work for them. They could be standing up and like, ordering them around, but they just don't. Nobody knows any of this stuff.
Absolutely. Wow.
There's just definitely, I guess you could call it an awakening, but it's a restoration. Like people are finding out all this stuff and like actually standing up for it now in more numbers than ever before.
Like Michael said, the men should be priests of the order of Melchizedek, and we should be standing up. It's actually a curse if a woman is in charge of us, as scripture states.
The only exception to that was the prophet Deborah. But in that case, she still asked a man for permission because he was asking her to be like the commander and the general and to, no, what was it? Like they're, Joseph, there's a echo. Sorry. Deborah was asked to be the military strategist, but she still told the man, she gave him the choice. I think it was his name Barak? Anyway, he asked her if she would be the military strategist, and she said, only if you're willing to let this victory be proclaimed by a woman. And he was like, yes, absolutely, we just need you. And they did win. But that's like the only example where they had a woman in charge, and she still left it, the decision, up to the man.
I mean, I guess I have some thoughts that are different about that, even in scriptures now. Uh, I think women have always been in charge. I think the garden changed everything, um, because now, when you look at it in Genesis, it literally tells in that now the man will rule over you. So no longer were you to be, submissive. Now the woman was had to be in a submissive role, and she was to be ruled over it. That means by force, that the man was going to force her. So she worked how through trickery and manipulation, but the curse was broken when we come together and we recognize that. That's why Scripture says in Ephesians, "Be not drunk with wine, where in excess, but be filled with the Spirit." And we're filled with the Spirit. That curse is broken. Take a look at that really, really close. And to me, it doesn't matter if you call yourself Christian or more, whatever you call yourself. You're still filled with the spirit of something. And I believe it's the spirit of the Almighty. Because the only way that we can get this is unless God gives the increase.
Right. He has to remove the blindness and the
That's right.
deafness.
And Catherine, you could be doing the teaching. Uh, King does the watering, but God gives the increase.
That's right. And you know what? That's like what I was telling Michael is some people will say like, oh, women can't teach. They can't be teachers. But I always counter that with if the Holy Spirit, which I call the Ruach HaKodesh, if it gives me a prompting, I'm not going to hold back at what it is. Because it
You
was
can't.
freely you have been given, freely you shall give. So if some kind of information has been given to me, I'm going to share it with others. What woman or not, like it doesn't matter at that point from my perspective.
I mean, Michael asked you to teach tonight, so that was decent and in order.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, everybody, I did take a picture of my declaration of status and I sent it in. And like I said, there were some things that I would do differently, like I said in the beginning of this video. And hopefully I can get this video uploaded quickly and I'll post it in the Telegram.
As a woman's head, I have to give her permission to do this as well. I'm glad that Michael believes she has enough information to teach, which is awesome. But if a woman has a husband over the top of her, she needs to get his permission to do this as well. Otherwise, it's kind of a wishy-washy scenario there.
Yeah, and somebody's got to be liable. If I taught something that was incorrect, you know, with my husband as the head, like he'll take the fall. And I kind of like that in scripture when it talks about like if a woman gives a vow or an oath, it's either going to be her father if she's living under his household or her husband if she's living under his household. One of them has to vouch to like kind of be almost a what would you call it? Like when you sign a contract,
Responsible for it. Yeah.
somebody has to like back you up basically.
Yeah, those vows are serious.
Like a co-signer.
Like a surety.
Yeah, if I said a vow or an oath, now my husband has to like I think it's written in like if my husband says no no that vow is invalid, then I don't have to uphold it. So the husband or the father can actually break a vow if I accidentally give one and I need to retract it or something like that. I don't know. That's in scripture.
Yeah, but you guys got to understand that there's a time gap in the scriptures, and there's also a culture gap. Every place that the Hebrew scriptures went or the Hebrew God went, it always increased things for women, that things became better, not worse. So therefore, the women always wanted what that that so-called Hebrew husband because they were treated better, supposedly. And so, even today, I mean, most women who they look for, they want a man that honors God because they know that they're going to be treated better, not worse. If the spirit is given a woman an inkling, she has to follow that spirit. If you got a jealous, foolish husband that doesn't want you, that's why scripture talks about the unbelieving husband. If you got a believing wife and an unbelieving husband, what do? It tells you to stay with them unless he wants to leave and go. You cannot disregard God for anyone, any woman or any man.
Hallelujah. That's true. Just like earlier today on Facebook, I saw someone saying, "Oh, well, the scripture says that you're supposed to obey the government and the authority because they've been given authority by God. And I was like, well, what if they tell you to worship a giant golden statue like King Nebuchadnezzar? You don't have to follow that. If it's positive law and it goes against natural law, I don't think it applies.
Listen, there's nothing higher than the law of God. They recognize the law of God in the Holy Scriptures and common law. Common law is vulgar. We need to be careful about the common law stuff. We shouldn't even be in their courtrooms, period, under no circumstances. As a matter of fact, that's why you need to tell them, the lawyers and everybody else, that you're out of compliance for even talking to me. We're not part of the bar. Why are they talking to us? Why are we talking to them?
Yeah, I saw you mentioning the foreign registration, foreign agent registration.
I mean, I didn't write that down. I mean, I didn't write
Oh,
that, but that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
somebody mentioned it in the Telegram
Yeah,
because they none of them have registered as a foreign agent, but by all technicalities they should have, and they should give every single person a written notice that they're a foreign agent before a court case.
absolutely. And all of them are committing fraud and treason because of that, and human trafficking. This is what they're doing to us, guys. And you got to call him on that. So you put that in your affidavit as well. All of it is fraud. All of it. I'm going to send a Michael a copy of the affidavit and let him just to dissect it and go through it, take out the parts that he likes, and can add it to the stuff that he already has, and we just kind of go from there.
I'm
Thank
just
you so
so
much, sir.
I'm so excited to be part of this group because I feel like finally it's not just me battling by myself trying to get my kids back. I've got like everybody to kind of help me, and I hope I can help y'all and like repay the favor. But man, I just really want my kids back so bad, and I definitely am gonna cry like so bad when that happens. I'm
Well, sister,
I'm
believe me,
praying on it. I'm betting on it. I'm hoping for it, and I'm putting all my energy and efforts towards it.
we want you to get your children back. Just to believe me.
A
Yes,
win
This
for
definitely.
one is a win for everybody, basically, because we've all
Exactly.
been screwed over by these courts.
Yes.
As long as we keep breaking down these systems and need to understand that the color of law, as long as we keep calling ourselves black and white and all these other things, we keep that stuff going. We got to cut that mess out. That's a part of the system. Some of the things that and if I get a chance, I'm gonna bring some people on here that could really really explain a lot of these things to you guys. There's a sister that I call her my sis. She's powerful, great at research, and has a great understanding and wisdom. And she's uncovered so much truth, so much stuff. I mean, hours and hours and hours and hours of study. But she has a knack for it, and she's done so much stuff. I mean, when I tell you, you name it, we've probably studied it. So I'm not a master of anything. I probably touched a little bit of everything. Uh, and sometimes I think that's to my detriment. But at the same time, I know a little bit about a whole lot of stuff, not a lot about anything. But this courtroom stuff, this is a thing that we must master. And what I'm telling you about the affidavit is the God's honest truth. The guy that showed me this, I've seen firsthand what his affidavits do. And when I tell you they run, they run. This affidavit will do everything for us. You just have to tweak it according to what you need it for. Get people out of jail as well. But you just got to be very, very careful because they want to keep slaves. And we can't wake up anybody that's dead anyhow. Once again, that's the Almighty that does that because there are people that are a hell of a lot more intelligent than what I am. Do not get this. So I know it's a spiritual thing.
Definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
I agree.
So all it took for
Do
all it
you
took
all
for
want to continue this? Because I have a 1-year-old son and I'm going to need to get him to bed here in a minute. I can change host with anybody if y'all want to continue.
No, we can go ahead and reconvene tomorrow if you guys want to. This has been amazing. Catherine, you did such a great job, and thank you, Mr. Hopkins, for your input as well.
you're
Yeah,
welcome.
great job, Catherine.
Thank you. I hope I taught somebody at least one new thing because I don't know
I'm
where
sorry.
everybody's at. You know, we're all kind of at
Learned
different
about
levels all
I
over the
learned
place.
about 6 or 7 new things.
I'm sorry I missed the first part of it. I came in kind of on the end.
Well, we
Um,
had the recording, so it should we should actually get it posted into the group.
okay. Okay, great. Great.
Yeah, I'll get that as soon as I'm done with this. I'll send it. I think, yeah, I send it to Mo.
Yep, and I'll get it posted in the group.
Okay. That's it, everybody. I think this is a wrap. And
Yes,
look
we will
forward to
reconvene tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
it.
Central.
Good
All
day,
right.
all.
Bye, everybody.
Good
Shalom,
night.
everyone. Good night.